Tonight, see what truly exists inside the world of the paranormal. Inside. Join the discussion and review some of the best paranormal evidence captures from a wide variety of experienced and up-and-coming investigators. See and hear what they capture, where they captured it, and how they captured it. Right now on Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence.
Good evening and welcome to Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. The intro will be real short. I'm Tony.
I'm Cherie.
And this is the Flying Nun. Anyway, we've got a very exciting show for you tonight, but we did have a little complication with the EVPE team tonight. You want to mention Chris and Audra?
Yeah, Chris is not feeling well tonight, and I believe his rheumatoid arthritis is.
Yeah, I spoke to him today. He was not doing well.
Yeah,
Audra's taking care of him, nursing him back to health. So we wish him a very quick recovery.
Get well soon, Chris.
Yes, get well soon. And Rod and Lourdes had not the same issues, but they had a really rough day. They had a son's pet not doing well at all. They spent the day in the vet emergency room. They're not sure if the pet's going to make it.
Yeah.
But the biggest problem is that it's Ron's son pet, and he did not take it well, isn't taking it well. So they had to bow out for tonight, and we totally understand. However, in order to make the show very interesting for you, we brought in two other co-hosts tonight. The first one you may know because he is in the chat room all the time. He is a very good investigator. He's very attention to detail, and he's got a great sense of humor. Yes. So let's welcome Roger to the co-host platform for tonight. Here comes Roger.
There's one.
There's one. How you doing, Roger?
I'm doing good. How's it going?
You were doing I'm thinking he can't hear us. We can't hear him. All right. And our second co-host for tonight, you probably do know. He is the founder of the Hollywood Ghost Hunters. He is an excellent investigator. We've investigated with him many times. The
legend,
the one and only Mr. Rick McCallum. Let's welcome Rick. Woohoo! How you doing, Rick?
Hi, sir.
Well, now that I'm a legend, I'm doing better.
Well, you are, always have been, always will be. Like I said, I've investigated with Rick many times throughout the years. He has a knack for communicating with spirits that if you haven't seen before, check out some of the videos he's got online. And if you're not looking for the paranormal, check out some of his films. How many have you done, Rick? 75?
Yeah, between TV and web series, like I stunt coordinated The Walking Dead, the one that won the Streamy Award. I stunt coordinated the Friday the 13th video game. About 75 projects, all in all.
Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive. Okay, so our guest tonight, and I'm going to let him probably do his own introduction, but is Frank Kupka. And he was the founder of, let me get this right, Buffalo Phantom Hunters. And very, very good paranormal group. I've seen lots of the stuff they put out, but let's bring in Frank and say hello. And sorry, I'm reaching across the screen because normally Chris does all this, so I'm trying to run the show and operate it. But here comes Frank. How you doing, Frank?
Hey, Frank.
Good evening, guys. How are you? Rick, Roger, how you doing?
Hey, Frank.
What's going on? And you did get it right, Tony. I'm the founder of Buffalo Phantom Hunters. That's right. Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
Good. Normally I screw that up. I normally screw up names.
That's all right.
Ron, who's been working with us for years, I called him.
You butcher his.
Oh yeah, I called him Ron What did I say? Yavakati.
Yavakati.
Yavakati. And I will never live that down to this day. But anyway, Frank, before we bring in, we have another guest that we're going to bring in tonight, but I'm going to let Frank kind of explain the situation, the evidence we're going to look at tonight. But Frank, before we do that, give a brief history about how you got involved in the paranormal, how it led up to where you are today, and how that kind of transpired.
Well, it was probably around 7 or 8 years ago now. A friend of mine asked if I was interested in. He watches all the shows, and I really don't watch the stuff. He asked if I was interested in doing some of the stuff, and I said, sure. Let's look into it and see when he gets back home. Let's look into it and see what we got. I had a fascination with it when I was younger. A lot of you know, some of you don't. I was a corrections officer for a long time. Correctional. There were a lot of shadows and a lot of things that I saw, just things out of the ordinary there that made me start to wonder what was going on. And when he decided he wanted to do this and he asked me to come aboard, it just piqued that interest more and more and more. And from that point forward, it's taken off. We used to do a lot of live stuff. We changed up now. The person I'm going to introduce you to now is also now my partner. He has stepped aside because he's had some stuff with his son. He plays lacrosse and things like that. So we've got a great location. The girl owns a great location that we do a lot of stuff in. So we'll be able to talk about a lot of that. And the evidence that we sent this time is evidence that people have sent us on our public tours that we take them on. So it's pretty cool. It's great to get feedback from people that we take on tours in our building that give us all this stuff that we're able to present to you guys to come on and discuss.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And we've obviously had a chance to look at the stuff that was sent. There's some really cool stuff there. It should be a great show. You had a paranormal cooking show. Do you still do that?
We do once in a while. Joe Piari, who owns Paranormal Oddities here in DPU, he does that every now and then. We haven't done it in a while because he's had some other things going on. But I was talking with Tim Shaw today about that, about stopping into Joe's and talking to him and see if he'd be interested in putting it back on again and that kind of stuff. We do it. I've done it a few times. We come in, we do quick recipes, throw some up, talk paranormal. We talk just about anything people want to talk about. It's a lot of fun. It takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes, but we do an in-studio audience. They get to taste what we eat, what we make, kind of like a regular cooking show, and we talk paranormal. So it's a lot of fun.
Very cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So do you want to introduce our other guest and explain maybe how she's connected to what we're going to take a look at tonight?
Absolutely. Our next guest is my partner, and her name is Heather Grimm. She owns the Western Block here in Lockport, New York. It's a great place. It's an old factory. It's got a lot of rich history, and I'm going to let her explain some of the rich history about that. And this is Heather.
Hi. All right, well, welcome, Heather.
Hi, Heather.
Thank you. So as far as my history,
yeah.
Okay, I guess we'll jump right in. It's a good 200-year history, and if anyone's familiar with the Erie Canal, it's located right on the Erie Canal. So it's a great location with just so much activity and so much historical points that have come into play. But it was an old factory called the Western Block.
Awesome. Do you think the canal being so close has anything to do with the activity that occurs there?
Yes, absolutely. So water is a huge conductor, and we've got the canal right there, but we also have channels that run under our property, and it sits all on limestone. So the canal is kind of integral to the property. They made pulleys and wheels for ships all over the world and utilized the canal to help move some of those parts around during that age. But yeah, we find that not only do we get activity associated with the factory itself, but also travelers who would come and use the canal just for transportation or, their other activities.
Wow. Very cool.
Wow.
So how did you get involved in the paranormal?
I was kind of curious. I mean, I had some interesting things happen when I was younger, but I kind of disassociated from it when I grew up. And it wasn't until I was actually working at the Buffalo Central Terminal that I started having experiences. So I was there for a little bit. And when I took over my building, after I took over, my tenants started coming to me saying, hey, somebody's in the building, but we can't see them or find them. When I would check the cameras, nobody was around. A lot of those activities just kind of kept, coming to fruition. And so we started looking into it, and I finally met Frank, and now here we are.
That's awesome. Now, Rick, you said prior to us going live that you investigated some Buffalo place. Was that the one she's talking about?
I believe it is. Yes.
Yep.
Awesome.
And she's right. It's very haunted. And it's the atmosphere there, because it's got these long hallways. I actually had my FLIR out, and Jack Kenna was walking through these other rooms trying to see if he could stir up some activity. And I see him come out on the FLIR, and someone come out right after him. So I yelled, "Jack, there's someone behind you." And I went down, I couldn't go through the way we were. There was a couple tables set up. So I went running down through the back, and I caught up, and Jack was still standing in the other side. He hadn't gone into the center. Wow. So we picked up that. We actually picked up 2 on the FLIR. So yeah, they're very, very interesting place.
Sounds incredible.
We should visit next year.
Yeah, I'm thinking we got to add that to the bucket list.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to add that one to the bucket list, add Western Block, because I don't know if you can get into the Central Terminal anymore, because they're doing some remodeling and things like that. So I don't really know if you can get into the Central Terminal anymore.
Well, you're gonna take us.
Cherie has.
We can. How's that?
Cherie has spoken. No, but that's really good information. But we'll probably plan a trip out east here again sometime awesome. Soon.
We'll meet Frank in person.
There you go.
And Heather.
There you go. Good idea. All right. So before we get into the evidence, explain, and I know you gave a brief overview that these were things participants had actually captured in this location, correct? Okay. So how do you want me to do it? Do you want me to show a piece of evidence first, or do you have some sort of intro? How do you want to break this apart?
No, why don't you pick the evidence you want to see first, and then you can ask questions and we can explain it and explain how it works. How's that? That works.
I am going to start with the photo, or should I do the EVP first? Which one do you think?
EVP.
Of course, the EVP.
Yes.
All right. Let's show the EVP now. I have to switch this off for comments so I can get back to the evidence.
Damn, that's a big bug, Heather.
Okay, so it's this one. Oops. All right. So, okay, I'm not running this anywhere near
because you're like that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Not running this anywhere near as smooth as Chris does. Okay, so this video is called Counting.
Correct.
All right, I'm going to play it, and then you guys can explain what this was, where you were at, and what was going on. So here is that video.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Clearly, you got the answer of 6 at the end. You can hear that plain as day. That's awesome. So explain what was going on, and it sounds like there's actually kids there.
Heather, you want to do it?
Sure. So in the afternoons during daylight, we actually do family ghost hunts, and we bring families through because we were approached by a ton of parents saying, "Hey, can I bring my kid to the adult ghost hunt?" It was never, not a good environment for little kids to be at. So we said, "Hey, why not? We'll do these family ghost hunts," and they're a kick. We bring kids through during the day, and actually one of the games we play is the counting game, and we give a number that we stop at, and then we see if our spirits in the property will count all the way up to whatever number we actually said out loud we were going to count it to. So oftentimes we kind of have to try to trick our spirits into counting past, but we get a lot of counting after we stop of them going on.
Wow. That's really cool. Let's play that one more time because it's short. It's only 15 seconds, but here it is again. And they stop at 5, but somebody clearly says, sounds male to me, says 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right after.
Yeah.
It's right after 5, 6.
Yeah, you hear it. What do you think of that, Roger?
That definitely is right there. It's right at the end. It sounds like there's a little chatter even after the 6.
Yep.
Yeah, it said it right
Not
away.
the clear one, but the one right before that.
Once in a while, we'll do the same game with the adults, and we'll stop at 5. And there were a couple times we got 7, so we weren't sure if the spirits were screwing with us or if the frequency was off, because we got 7, and people were like, "That's a pretty clear 7," and we stopped at 5. So, we attribute it to the school systems in the area. You know how that goes, but make a little joke about it every now and then. So it's kind of funny, but a lot of times we will get a decent response out of that game, whether it's the adults or the kids.
Yeah, the spirits are very cooperative with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, that was you can clearly hear that they clearly followed in order, and you gotta wonder.
The kids get so much response during the day; it's not even funny. It's great because we'll bring the kids in from 2 to 4. Then we'll take a little bit of break, and then the next 3 sessions we have are all adults, and the kids seem to get it amped up for them, and then it just carries right over into the adult section and the adult hunts. So it's
nice.
A lot of fun. Yeah,
that's cool. Awesome.
I thought that I heard a couple other things inside that tape.
I agree.
I thought I heard what sounded like a little kid running. Number
really?
one, and second, I heard another voice later on. It sounded like a kid that said exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure if that's the word, but I did hear another voice.
There was definitely other stuff in there, but let's play it one more time. Like I said, it's only 15 seconds, and let's see if we can hear what Rick is talking about, because there is more there. Fun. Yeah, there is more there. Here it comes again.
That's cool.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, there's definitely walking or something going on.
There is footsteps, without a doubt, and they're pretty quick, so it could be running, but it's definitely footsteps.
And
I did hear exactly. I did hear
at the very end.
I'm not sure if that's one of the kids that were actually in the tour at the time, or if that's something else.
But it's there. It is there.
Yes, absolutely.
It's definitely there.
Yeah.
You can hear that exactly, really clear, even clearer than the 6. But yeah. Very cool. All right. I can't wait to talk about these, because these are awesome.
We'll save that for last.
For last?
Is it? That's it?
Hold on. I just got to figure out where they are. Okay. All right. I'm going to bring up a photo. Now, we should be able to talk right over the photo being up, but I'm going to post it. I'm going to give the audience a minute to look at it and then explain where this is at in the building, how it was captured, what's going on. But here's the first one.
That's my favorite one.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Rick and I do the exact same thing. What?
Yeah.
It looks like to me a male. And
looks like a male in a suit with a to us.
And the head is leaning forward
a little bit. It's turned because I think I can see an ear. You can see the hairline. I mean, granted, I'm using a little bit of imagination putting it together, but it's clearly, I'm assuming there's nothing there.
Correct. So that table is right against the wall, and the spirit box there is lit up. So that's a spirit. That big radio is a spirit box. It's an old radio I took apart to make a spirit box. I put red lights in it so it lights up. It looks really cool, basically. But because of the red light, it illuminates a lot of that area. So when you take the pictures, a lot of that stuff comes up. That room is a gallery room that's right off of, it's right downstairs. It's one of the first rooms we come into. We'll go outside and then we'll come into this room, do a spirit box session. They can take pictures there. They can take pictures down the hallway. It's a great area where these types of pictures have been captured by the people we bring through.
That's utterly amazing because, first of all, it looks like, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no other lights on in the room. All the light is coming from the spirit box that's lit up and whatever that other device is over to the right.
Right.
But it doesn't look like there's enough light coming from either device to cast heavy shadows, and there's nothing in between the major light coming from the spirit box in between where this figure is standing to even be casting a shadow.
Yeah.
Correct. That's right.
The red light shadow, the red light coming out of the front would have saturated everything.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Yes. Wow.
Everett in the chat is asking, where is this at?
That is at the Western Block, excuse me, in Lockport, New York.
Wow. So when your participants brought this forward, what was your first impression? Is this something that you've seen before? Is this an image?
Well, yeah, awesome. No, we haven't figured out what it is, but there's. Heather, you want to take it?
Yeah, I mean, we keep getting these kind of manifestations, for lack of a better word, really, shadows that people are capturing with their own cell phones. So it's not like one person is just taking all of these photos and sending them to us. They're different tour groups, different sessions, different times of the evening. And we say, take a series of photos and make sure you take a set so that you've got something to compare each of the images to against each other. And they'll come right up to us in that session and say, hey, can you take a look at this? And lo and behold, they've captured another form, another human figure.
Wow.
Very cool.
Has any of the other captured looked like similar or even identical to what appears to be that man in the suit? Has any other one matched so close that you were able to say, oh my God, we've got him in another shot?
Well, we keep getting the same manifestation activity. So we believe that it's all this same entity, just based on the behaviors of it, where it is, where it's located, and that it's being captured by cell phone. But when the images, you can see it either a little bit larger, a little bit more formed, a little less formed, but it's a human figure. So it's kind of difficult to look at the same thing, because sometimes it's larger, sometimes it's smaller. But yeah, there's a pretty good consistency now with this manifesting entity.
Right.
Yeah. What do you think of that, Rick?
Well, I think that it's extraordinary, number one. Second off, with just being the red lights from the
spirit box,
the box that you have, that should have actually really, flushed out anything, and should have washed it out instead of showing up. So whatever was there was really strongly there. So I think whoever got that, that's a great catch for you guys.
Yeah. That I'll agree with. Plus, I don't know what the back of that box looks like and if the light shines through the back anywhere. But if it does, even more to Rick's point, that it should have lit it up and flushed out the shadows, not made it prominent. Even if it just came out the front, the light still scatters throughout, bounces off through the room. And again, should have flushed out shadows, not made them prominent. So that's really awesome.
Plus, I think that
the back of the box. So on the back of the box, there's actually a covering on the back of the box that I can pull apart and pull back together. So it's not open; it's actually covered. So it's not casting back on the wall like you were discussing. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes it even more unexplainable.
Plus, even though if it's casting the shadow figure, it's on the right, not on the left, where the box, the spirit box.
Right.
Yeah, it's off center from where the box is, but that's really cool.
That's awesome.
That's really, really cool.
Awesome.
Heather, is that the same area where you get the other pictures too, in that same area?
Yeah, yep, that same general area, pointing towards that wall and that kind of, it's a 10 by 20 foot gallery space. But it's in that first kind of 10 feet that a lot of the activity is consistently occurring in.
Yeah, that's a great capture by whoever got that.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree. You don't see stuff like that very often. And I know that's not the only one we get to see tonight, which makes this even more exciting and makes this area even more of a draw.
So Tony, the last time I was on,
solid.
the last time I was on with the shadow, this is the same place where that shadow figure was caught on the security camera that we had last time.
Really?
It's the same building, different location in the building, but the same building. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that intrigues me even more because that was an awesome shadow figure, and Frank has that ability of bringing those to us every time he comes on. And I think we've seen at least 2, if not 3, of just I'm like, oh my god, that's awesome. All right, so I am gonna switch to picture 2, and here it is.
Oh, what the heck?
Anyone else think that looks female?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like
And maybe it's just me, but
that's
oh my god.
and it
Looks like she's got high heels and a belt on.
exactly, and or
Or wearing a boots.
or boots,
Yeah.
And a miniskirt.
and a mini skirt and a midriff
Long
top.
hair?
It could be. I can't tell that, but
I don't think that's me. That's not my bag.
and I don't see the hat.
No, my flying nun hat.
the flying nun hat.
But that's amazing. Again, look at the lighting and where it's placed.
Exactly.
The spirit box again, and I can't tell if those other reflections on the wall are from the spirit box. I would say
They are. So
yes.
So the covering on the back it's not completely covered. So some of the light from inside leaks out the back a little. So the blue light is one of the components on the inside, one of the noise gates on the inside. It's a little blue light, that's all. And the red is another part of the noise. There's two like guitar pedals in there that have little lights on them when they're turned on, and that's basically what's kind of leaking out on the left there.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. That makes perfect sense. But look on the floor where the red light from the box is absolutely lighting up the floor.
Right.
Yep.
Whatever that figure is standing just off from that glowing light hitting the floor, which again, to Rick's point, would eliminate shadows, not show them.
Exactly.
Well, the other thing too is it cannot be a person because there is no shadow of her on the floor.
Exactly.
Or on the walls or anywhere else. So I mean, that's got to be something spectral, I would think.
I would agree, because if, like you said, if that was an actual human standing there, that light would be distorted from a shadow being reflected. And there, Everett, it's a lady. That's what I thought, Everett.
Who was it? I think is it Ron from ERRT?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's asking who made the box.
Oh,
good question.
Well, basically what it is, it's a 1924 Philco radio. I took all the old guts out of it and put all like new SBE parts into it. It's got a SB7 inside it with a enhanced speaker and 2 guitar pedals for noise gates and stuff like that to control that stuff. So that's basically what it is.
Wow.
Very cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
You can't really tell in front, but when you look at it up front, there's, instead of the knob, I took all the knobs off of it and I got 3 crystal skull heads in front of it.
Very cool.
But still, it's not going to cast a shadow figure like a lady.
No.
Yeah. No way.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions. The light that's the red light that's reflecting in the room off to the right, is there another device in there, or is that strictly light being reflected from the box?
No, I believe it's either a REM pod or we have another device that has a little LED red light on top of it, and we put that usually right there. So that lights up that hallway.
But again, then 2 light sources and this figure standing in between, and that's where the least amount of shadows would show. So I mean, I got to agree. You're definitely looking at something outside of the normal. But I have one more question. The frames on the back wall, are those mirrors or pictures?
So those are actually pictures because during the day, this is an active art gallery. It's an arts and cultural center now.
Okay, well, that makes perfect sense then. Yep. All right. That's incredible. So the figure we saw in the previous photo, this is a different room though, right?
Nope, same room.
Nope, same room.
Same room.
Same room.
Wow.
Holy cow. So out of the number of participants that come, what percentage do you think go, oh my God, what's in my photo? 5%, 10%, 3%?
I'd say about 5%, right, Heather? That'd be about
fair.
That's a really high average then. I mean, even in the best marketing, and I say this because marketing is what I've done for the last I don't even want to say many years.
Yeah, many years.
You know, if you get a 3% return on a marketing, that's good.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're getting 5% of your people that are capturing figures that you can't explain, this place has got some activity, no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys feel anything? Sorry, Rick.
No, I was going to say there's something a little different here that I don't know if anybody else is picking up on. The way the man was dressed and the way she is dressed makes me think that they might be together.
That's an excellent point, because if he's wearing a suit and she looks like she's dressed for a night out.
Yep. I agree.
Wow, Rick.
Well, that's not janitors, and that's not other stuff. That's two people that are dressed up for some reason.
That's a great observation. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Is there any history of like people who have passed here who may have been from that like era?
So it gets a little confusing because there's so many travelers that travel the canal. We do get a lot of visitors. Okay. However, we know that this building was built around 1905 to 1911, and the building history itself, this particular section of the building was only ever a factory before it became an arts and cultural center. So we have had artists who have passed while it's been an arts and cultural center, which turned over to that in 2001. So prior to that, it was all Western Bloc since 1888. And then prior to that, there was some cabins, log cabins, and some residences and stuff like that. So some of the history gets a little dicey, but this section and where they were, depending on that time frame, it was more than likely a factory. But that's not to say they weren't there for some gallery event where they were dressed in a suit in that, or they could just be visitors coming through. So it's such an active location. We get so many spirits. We get consistent spirits, but we also get a lot of individuals we meet for a first time on our tours. So, and then who stay after because they love it. Like a little girl named Brooke. She's So.
That's awesome.
That is so awesome. So, okay, my mind's just spinning with questions, but you had a spirit box device with you. What kind of level of interaction do you get? I mean, they're clearly showing themselves. They're not afraid to let you know, or the people that are going through, they're not afraid to let you actually see them, or at least an outline of them. How or what percentage of responses through a communication device do you get?
Ooh, that's
it depends on the device. If you're talking the dowsing rods, we get communication almost every session. I think there's only been one session there wasn't communication.
Wow. What about
if you're talking like the spirit box? I would say it's kind of rare that we don't get some kind of communication, whether they're really willing to talk to us or whether we've got a group who's got their energy up and they're willing to actually interact with the spirits. It's kind of a different story, and that kind of plays more into it than the spirits' willingness to talk. Right. So it's the people who come looking for an experience. If they're willing to open up and start a conversation with the spirits at the building, the spirits are more than likely going to answer them or talk with them or at least say something.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that makes perfect sense. And one of the reasons why I asked that question is Rick has an ability to get spirits to answer questions off of an EMF or K2 meter like no one I've ever seen. I mean, I don't think we've ever investigated where he's not asking questions left and right with other devices within feet of him. But the only device going off is the one in his hand. And so I was curious what kind of interaction. And you are absolutely right, though, about it depends on who's there, what energy they have, what their kind of experience they're looking for. That makes a big difference. But I've seen Rick get answers to questions on a K2 that just blows your mind.
That's awesome.
So the responses that you get aren't residual; they're like intelligent, like they answer.
Much so.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They will. We found out recently that so my name comes up across the box on a constant basis, constantly. But we also found out recently that there was a fire close by where the fireman that had passed away has the same name. So now the question is, are they actually reaching out to talk to me, or are they talking to him? Right. So we just found this out recently. So now when we're going to go through, we're going to start to probe and pry and see which direction they're going on that one. So.
Wow. Very cool. Roger, you know what they need, right?
They need a Staticom session.
They need Staticom.
Yes.
I think I know some people.
Yeah, I think I know some people too that have that device. But yeah, that would be so cool to see what kind of communication would come through. We know
Say that again, Frank. You're inviting us.
Absolutely. You are more than welcome to come down. Open invitation.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Thank you, guys.
All right. So that was only picture 2. Here comes picture 3, and let us know what we're looking at.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, hell no.
Okay, that's freaky.
Dude, it's as tall as the freaking back wall.
Right.
Well,
it looks like a cone head.
Kinda. And he's holding something like I picture.
Well, it looks like he's got something slung over this shoulder. This arm's out.
Yeah.
Like he might be holding
a big man,
an axe or something. And the cone head you're talking about looks like he's got like a winter hat.
Oh, whatever. It looks like home.
Hold on a second. Was Rick there?
You know what it really looks like? The way he's walking everything, it looks like Kane.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. That's the way Kane walks with his arms out and
broad-shouldered.
Okay, here's the most interesting things I see when looking at this. First, again, look how close the light from the spirit box is to this figure. Secondly, not only is it shadowed, it's got a haze to it or a mist or a substance.
Right.
It doesn't look flat. It looks 3-dimensional.
So look at the bottom of wherever the spirit box is sitting on. It kind of looks like it's coming out from underneath that.
Right.
Like it's just creeping and forming out of that.
Oh, actually it does, yeah. Never even thought about that.
But it's also translucent because if you look at the arm,
it's not
blocked. The left arm, the picture's not blocked.
Yeah.
But yet the outline
is
still that. Oh my God. And so close to the light source. That blows my mind because that again shouldn't show.
And it's all white. It's all white walls in there, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Are they glossy or are they matte?
They're matte.
Yeah. Okay, so then no way for somebody's reflection to get thrown. And even if it was thrown, again, the red light, like Rick was saying, would just, and like we've all been saying, would have just washed it out by that
right.
point.
Well, if you look above the box and just a little bit to the left and go up, it looks like there's almost another figure standing there.
Oh, the cloudy white.
Yes.
Cloudy white, right?
He's right.
So maybe the cloud that we're seeing, the mist, might be that second figure standing in front of it.
Yep.
And you see the stand where the spirit box, this is his other arm.
Oh, like it's
It's-
kind of putting its arm around it.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
not blocking.
Again, though, let's talk about what I see as far as maybe outfits. He looks like he's ready to go chop down the biggest tree in the forest. And I think that might be female next to him, the other figure. And it looks possibly like a dress. I don't know.
That's crazy.
So
Even
this is
if it's just that one, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just the one figure alone is wow.
Where was this taken?
Same place.
Oh, in that same gallery room.
Yeah.
Same
What the
gallery
crap?
room? Oh
Yep.
my. So
Heather,
they're
have you ever
doing
had
that.
somebody stay overnight in that by themselves?
Well, I have.
Oh, really?
We actually have tenants that work in their studios. So we rent out different offices and spaces for studios, art studios, and we do have people that go in there by themselves and work overnight.
Wow.
So yeah.
And how many people after working a night shift come up to you and go, I saw stuff I can't explain?
Well, I mean, they do that during the day too, when all the lights are on.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of tenants, and there was one in another building on the property that actually would hear music instruments being played. And yeah, he couldn't stay there late at night anymore. He's like, I can't do it.
Like a full-on orchestra, or just like
No, so he provided band instruments for school districts all over the area. And he
Okay.
said it was like those wind instruments that he could hear being played. However, he knew nobody was upstairs above him. So
yeah,
Wow.
but somebody was playing the
I'd have issues with that too. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
You know, that was
Yes.
that was the third photo, and the consistency.
Wow.
You know, I don't know if they're drawn to the spirit box, but the proximity is always right next to it.
Now,
And the
again,
size. Sorry, Frank.
all of those pictures were taken by different people at different times.
I was gonna say if it's a
They are
same
not taking the same person. They were taking different people, different times, different
different
months,
phones,
That's a
different
trip.
different devices.
Absolutely. Yep.
Apple, Samsung. Yeah.
oh wow.
So, but like the first one, it looked like a short guy standing behind the table, even though he couldn't stand behind it because up against the wall. Then the second one is a taller woman, and now you got the giant with
Yeah,
putting an arm around whatever else.
Right.
there's actually 3 different kind of spirits or entity.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
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 That's amazing. All right. Here comes picture 4.
Cool.
No way.
So
Come
now
on.
that picture is actually in front of the spirit box. So the spirit box is behind that picture.
It's like it's right up close to the camera.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's blocking the light from the spirit box, correct, Frank?
Correct. Because on the floor, if you see on the floor, when you asked me about the doorway last time,
Right.
yeah.
there's the other little piece of equipment we have that's on the floor there with the little LED red light on there. And that's about 3 feet or 4, not even 4 feet away from the spirit box itself. And that mass is in front of the spirit box right now.
And completely blocking the light.
Correct.
Hmm.
I noticed also on the picture on the very top, it seems like it's misty first and it gets darker. And you see
Yeah.
all these the
Yeah.
side. It's
But I
like
mean-
a smoke dark.
But think about the
Right.
last 3 pictures we saw where that spirit box is just radiating that red light.
I know
This is
it's-
standing in front of it. That
Mhm.
light is not showing through.
I can see the face. It looks like skeleton or skull.
I don't see the face. It looks like the back of the Grim
Or
Reaper
it's
to
just
me.
my imaginary. But here looks like a
That's exactly
skull.
what it looks
Grim,
like.
Grim Reaper,
Tony.
we're good.
the Grim
Yeah.
Reaper.
It looks like the
Skull.
looking at the back and the hat or the hood
Yeah.
looks like the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
That's
creepy.
that's just crazy. And the fact that it's blocking out the light source. Now, what I also find interesting is the pictures, because you said this was a gallery. You can see the light of the spirit box in the glass on the picture.
Yes.
But you cannot see any shadow or reflection. Well, maybe if it's that. I don't know.
Yeah, off to the right on the one.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But then that would be casting from that direction, like
Yeah, you're right. You're
lighting up that wall to then cast that shadow on the picture. But
it wouldn't necessarily be a shadow because it's not light induced. If that thing is standing in front of that bright spirit box and we're completely blocking the light,
yeah,
it
shouldn't
could
go
cast
beyond
its own reflection, just the darkness into the glass on the picture.
Oh.
If you guys look to the left side of the figure, you'll see two bumps that look like it might be a shoulder and a hand. It looks almost like it's got somebody pinned up against the wall.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, good. Wow.
That's interesting.
So it could be facing away from us.
It's your time, buddy.
Heather, you've got an amazing place there. I swear.
Yeah, what is your guys' take in this one? Every time you guys there's always a shadow figure. So do you guys have anything? Do you feel any danger or bad spirit or?
Yeah, what's the atmosphere when you're in there?
Yeah, we've never had anything that's like overly negative. We get a ton of mischievousness. We have one spirit in particular that loves to play games. But we've never had anything demonic, if you will, or something that's been outright trying to hurt anybody. For the most part, it just seems like your typical factory workers who are out to have some fun, you know?
They just want to interesting and hey, we're here. Guess look at us. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least.
And even during the day, like we've got tons of kids that come through. You know, they've never been terrified or anything like that, and they usually have a great sixth sense.
Wow.
Nice.
Well, I have to say, after seeing those last two pictures, I would not want to work in that factory.
All right, I was thinking about that too. Do we really want to go?
Yeah,
I'll go.
Yeah,
me.
that intrigues me to no avail, because when they're willing to let themselves, because okay, first of all, we know we're speaking about intelligence. We know that they have, their conscious abilities. We know they have their intelligence. They know they're being photographed, or they would have been gone before that picture even snapped. Absolutely. If they're willing to be seen, then they're willing probably to communicate. Yeah. And God knows what else, because what interactions are possible at this place, that's pretty exciting. And that's a huge draw. Huge draw.
Lately, we have what we've done, we put three little, because we seem to get a lot of little kids in that area too, or at least people think they see little kids in the area. So we've put three little kid balls in the area, and a lot of times we'll be like moving from one spot to another, and the ball will move on its own after it's been sitting there for 20 minutes. We've been sitting there staring at these things, nothing. We go to move, and the guy goes, the ball just rolled, and everybody comes running back in, and they watch the ball roll and move. And so it's a great place. I can't say enough about it.
I agree with that completely. So Todd's asking, are these pictures all from the same investigation? From what I understand, Todd, and correct me if I'm wrong, no. This was over a period of time, different investigators, different people attending. Yep. And those people captured these photos and shared them with Heather and Frank, who are showing us tonight. So, but the question, could the entity captured in fact be the same one?
I think just could be forming into different.
Possibly. That's a possibility.
Wow.
Everett's got one on there too. Hell yeah, Scott.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
So you said this was a warehouse and then it was a gallery. Like Rick was saying though, about how we're maybe assuming some of these figures are dressed. Which one or which area of the building, whether it was a warehouse or a gallery? I mean, I would assume that people who looked dressed up would have maybe been from the gallery, but what? Right. Any idea what? Was it anything else? Was this building anything else? Was there anything there prior? Is the land have some?
So there's 4 buildings on the property that were actually built from stone quarried out of the canal in around 1823.
Oh.
Flash forward to 1888, a company came in and started purchasing the different plots of land that became a 100,000 square foot complex that it is today. So there was a police station, a fire department, there was the Western Block, a cotton batting company, a tannery, a apple cider place, and some other various companies that were on the property.
There was a hotel connected to the back too, remember?
And 1888 all the way up to the late 1990s. By the 1990s, 100,000 square feet of the complex, the whole complex was now the Western Block company that was going out of business. So that all switched over to a arts and cultural center, and that's what it all is today. So there were a ton of different uses based on the years and when the Western Block had different parts of the property. So it's trying to hunt down all the history of it gets a little dicey because back in the early 1800s, they just weren't keeping the same kind of records they do today.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Wow. Wow.
All right, Everett's.
Have these shadow figures been seen with the naked eye or photographed?
By luck.
By luck. Not by Puck.
By luck.
Like, who's Puck?
For sure.
Yeah. Throw Puck over there.
Right there. Luck.
Yeah, there you go.
The only shadow that we've actually seen with the naked eye is the video that I showed you the very first time I was on. That's the only one that's been seen with the naked eye, and I was the one that had looked through the doorway of the classroom to see it. So that's how I was able to actually bring it to Heather's attention so she could check the security cameras, and that's how we caught it.
Wow. Wow. So how often, Heather, do you guys do investigations for people to, I mean, is this a weekly thing? Is it a monthly thing? How often does this occur?
In October, we do it every Friday and Saturday, 3 times a night. And then the rest of the year, we do about once a month. But we also do private scheduling. So
very cool.
Nice.
Very cool. That's so cool. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Those I'm gonna just flip through all 4 of those again because the consistency of the captures.
And they'll grow. They'll literally get like the small guy behind and so on and so on.
Right.
Yeah.
And it looks like they get closer to the camera even.
Well, I don't know if they're getting bolder. I don't know, but like I said, the proximity of where the light's reflecting from and the fact that they're there clear as can be.
Yeah, but we can't compare because it's taken by a different person or a different time.
But that actually makes it even more official to me that these weren't captured one night by one person. Right. These are random people coming through at random days, random times, and catching similar, they may not be exact, but similar or multiple figures standing in what appears to be the same room.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just run through these again real quick.
Okay.
Here's number 1.
Yep.
I mean, and like Frank was saying, that table is pushed right up against the wall, which means his legs can't physically be where they look like they are.
Yeah.
Right. That's crazy.
And you can see the suit. It's totally...
Well, I mean, that's what it appears to me. Now, granted, the human mind with faces and known figures does have the ability to try to make sense of what you're looking at, but the detail in this it's
there.
It's way above an assumption. I mean, you can see the shoulders, you can see sort of the hunch of his shoulders. He's kind of got his arms like this, like maybe he's holding one palm on another wrist in front of them. Again, I mean, I could be pushing that boundary, but that's what I see.
Right.
Then we go to the second one.
Definitely.
That's female.
Yeah.
That's definitely
Hourglass figure.
Right. Right.
I
Then
never
we go-
get ghosts like that.
You what?
I never get spirits or ghosts like that.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's got kind of like a Jessica Rabbit vibe to it. Seriously, I mean, with the long red hair.
Yeah.
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 Uh,
And she,
It's kind
and
of
I say she, but yeah, she's almost got that like
leaning on
model
the right.
walk or lean.
well, I actually I think it's like a step towards a door because it kind of looks like she's got a faded out front leg.
But
Right.
again,
So like we're
yeah, a miss right here. Oh. You see it?
It actually looks like when girls stand there with one foot in front of, with
Right.
one leg crossed in front of the other.
Right. Like a
Yeah.
model pose. That's that.
Exactly. That's what it
I
looks
agree.
like.
And then we go to
oh hell no.
Lumberjack Man.
Oh my goodness.
He says, "Oh hell no."
It's like what movie is that?
There's Kane. That's
Oz?
freaking
Oz?
It's Kane from Friday the 13th. I mean, walking along, he's got the knife in his hand.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my
you're
God, that's what it
right.
does look like.
Rick.
and this place is by water.
Yes, and limestone.
Yeah. So perfect place for Jason. God.
Kane.
Yeah. So I meant to
Yeah.
say Kane as Jason.
Wow. And then the last one, I mean, and they get the darkness, the depth to the figure
It's a big man.
gets more and more. And then you've got this thing.
Yeah. Blocking out the light.
Oh, now I see the face you're talking about right here.
N-
Right?
No, this one. You see over here, and then there's the eyes right there.
Oh, kind of.
It looks like skull.
Kind of. Yeah, I think that
You
might be the
when you
mind
look
playing trick.
closer,
But the shadow, the outline. Look at the difference from where you can see the light, where that dark line just is absolutely
Prominent.
prominent from the lighter area to where the figure. And yeah, it looks like the back of the Grim Reaper to me.
yeah, I think so too.
Now let's try to be Chris for a minute.
Oh
No,
yeah.
I'm serious.
Crystal back.
I'm being totally
Situational
serious.
awareness.
But that top of that picture is probably what? Maybe 5.5 feet. I can't tell how high. That looks like a high ceiling. So that's probably a 10-foot, 12-foot
They're
ceiling.
12-foot ceilings. Yep. The walls
Okay.
go up about 8 feet. Your
Okay.
typical 8-foot wall. And
Well,
then there's like a
that means
4-foot gap.
that top of that picture frame is probably about 5.5 feet.
Tall.
So that means that figure's at least 6 feet tall,
It's as tall as us.
Tall.
which would be
Actually, it looks like there's only about a foot between the top of his head to the top of the thing, which would make him closer to 7 feet.
7
tall.
foot.
Yeah.
well. That's true. If you look at the top of the point of the head and how far it is from the wall, yeah, you're absolutely correct, Rick. I'm not as good as Chris at that.
I know, Chris.
Chris would be
You
able
know.
to tell us what the wall's built out of and what the different wood in it and exactly how it was put together and nail exactly that figure's height. But
Yeah.
wow, that's
Yeah.
that's incredible. All right, so
Shameless plug.
yeah, shameless plug time. Let us know what your future plans are, what kind of events or other things that you're doing in relation to this, and plug away on anything you want the audience to know or hear or upcoming whatever you're doing.
Go ahead.
Okay. So our website is Para Niagara, and that's where you can find all the events associated with all the paranormal stuff we do at the property. And then if people are interested in the art gallery side, we've got links through there, but it's Art 247 and it's all the Western Block. But yeah, we plan on doing, more tours, more public tours, but I think Frank and I are so intrigued with the history of the property that we can't help ourselves but try to keep discovering more, learning more about the history, about the dates, about the people that are coming and going. And we're always jumping down rabbit holes and discovering new stuff.
Take us wherever it leads.
Heck
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the cool thing about the paranormal, though, is that there's so many things to learn, understand.
Yep.
It never gets old, no matter how many times you may have captured something. There's so many questions to be answered. It just keeps you plugging away to find those answers. But that was some amazing photos. And I think what I liked best about it was, like you said, these were captured by people just there for the night and caught it on their own devices. It wasn't staged. It wasn't put together. It wasn't one person saying, hey, look at everything I caught. These are multiple random people that are going, what's in this picture? Look at this. That's pretty cool.
That's what I like best about it too. Because when people say, well, did you take that picture? I'm like, nope. These were sent to us from people on tours, or we were stopped while we were on tour and they said, hey, can you take a look at this? It's great when it's not always us. It's great. It's better when it's somebody that's come through that maybe is not into paranormal, but they think it's cool, and all of a sudden they capture something, and now all of a sudden it piques their interest, and it's a lot of fun. So,
Heck yeah.
Well, I would have one question for you guys. Did you ever have somebody take a burst mode in that you could see if there was something in the front and something in the back?
No, actually we have not, because everybody captures that stuff with a cell phone, so it's not. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can do that with a. Yeah, you can.
Yes, you can.
Okay, all right. I'm not technically savvy. That's Heather's department.
That's a great point, though, and I think Everett asked that question previously, but he said he always take pictures in three. But it would be very cool to see a before picture and an after picture to see if it's there.
That way, yes.
Oh yeah, we do that. We tell everybody to do that. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, always take them in a series, in a set. So you've always got something to compare the one you think there's an image in to the one before, after, to really see, like, was it just something on the wall, or
I know where Rick's going.
Where am I going with this?
So with the burst, if you were taking a burst, it would actually show it in sections forming and then going away.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I actually was at St. Andrews golf course one day, and I was just taking a picture. Somebody was actually taking a picture of me on the Swoken Bridge, the famous bridge. And when I got back and I looked, there's what looks to be a disc in the distance. And because the person that took the picture had it on burst mode, there were 5 pictures. And you can see that this appears and disappears within the thing of 1 second.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, that's really cool. Yeah, it's
holy crap.
We'll have to recommend people do that too, and with their cell phones this time. So
yeah, that would be a great experiment to see how long it's actually shown for. I mean, a picture is a fraction of a second captured in time, but to be able to see 5 or 6 photo burst shots and see if it's in photo 1 and photo 6, or if it's just in number 3, that would be really interesting too.
Well, not only that, if you could see the transition of it starting to form itself,
correct.
Then you'd really have great pictures. But the ones that you have are stunning.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's just
it's awesome.
Thank you.
And the EVP was good too. I mean,
yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that was great stuff. And I think what I like best about it is that, I mean, even with the younger kids, I mean, you got vocal response in an EVP, and clearly you haven't run into anything, being upset or harming anybody or angry, which is good. So
we get our angry ones, but nothing that's not like a grumpy old man every now and then.
Right.
Wait just a second here.
That was really impressive. Really.
Thank you, Everett.
Thank you, Everett.
All right. So let's see. We gave him the shameless plug.
What about Rick and Roger?
Frank.
Shameless plug.
Hold on.
There was a question about Frank.
Yeah, Frank, anything else you want to add? I mean, people were asking if you've got Facebook page or YouTube pages, or
my personal page would be Frank Robert. My Facebook page for this would be Buffalo Phantom Hunters or Buffalo Phantom Paranormal, either one. We have stuff there. And a lot of that stuff is all whatever we post through Paraniagra gets all posted through there. Working on starting to grab some of these things and post them on my page too, so it gets out there, spread out a little bit more, so people can see what's going on. So
very
Heck
cool.
yeah.
Very cool. All right, well, let's continue on with the shameless plugs from our wonderful co-hosts that joined us tonight. Rick, what do you got coming up?
Looks like I may be going to Tombstone with Tony Rathman, actually.
Nice.
To do a paranormal convention down there.
Nice.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I just got asked if I would like to be an ambassador to a tour in Ireland.
Nice.
Ireland, yeah, not my home country of Scotland. I mean, I may have to change my hat. I mean, if I but
And that's great.
yeah, just anybody looking for me, you can go to Ghost Believe in Me on Facebook. You can go to Hollywood Ghost Hunters on Facebook, or as you can see my name, just Rick McCullum on Facebook.
Awesome.
And Ghost Believe in Me, shameless plug. I actually won the Paranormal Book of the Year, so that was pretty cool. Which just shows you that bribery actually works.
One for you.
That's awesome. That is so cool.
Roger,
Roger,
do we
what
have
about-
an event?
What about you? What do you got? I know
A globe.
it's the worst time to ask because we're days away from Thanksgiving, and most paranormal shuts down from Thanksgiving until January.
Let me check the phone.
I know
Honest-
we have events.
We do.
Let's see. I mean, we've got some private investigations, a public one at the jail in Globe.
Very cool.
So
Thank you, Jeannie.
Very
Thank
cool.
just keep them busy.
Yeah. Well, it never stops, no doubt about it. But again, I want to give a heartfelt thanks to everyone who's shown on here, to Roger and Rick for helping us out, helping us go through the discussions and pointing out what we're looking at. But I want to give another special thanks to Frank and Heather for taking the time, for getting the evidence together. This was great stuff. It was great to look at, and I'm sure I'll spend days still looking at it after this is complete, because those are some amazing captures, and I just thought they were absolutely fascinating. So thank you. So how do I end this like Chris does? He's always got these fascinating little
Just
sayings.
stay haunted.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know what the end part is. Now that you just ruined it, I don't know there's any real purpose for me to do it. But I'm just going to say I appreciate everyone who's been on here tonight. Every one of us is involved in the paranormal, has been doing it for years. And, if you're watching this show and you want to experience this for yourself, you got to get out there. You got to snap some video or take some video, snap some photos, and you got to stay haunted. So have a great night.
Thank you for having us on. We appreciate it.
Can you give me a name? What's your name?